Hey guys, welcome to the Liberal Hive Mind, a channel solely focused on exposing the abundant hypocrisy of the left. So we have seen an all-out effort from the deep state, let's call it, to attack and demonize some of Donald Trump's key cabinet picks here. And obviously the intent is to derail the transition here, and also probably to break up team unity. And while they might have succeeded with stopping Matt Gaetz, they might not be as successful with some of the other controversial picks that Donald Trump has made. It seems Pete Hegseth might be able to cross the finish line here. Let me show you guys exactly what's going on. We got some stuff to get into. So let's roll the tape. Alright folks, so we've seen all the attacks against Pete Hegseth, and one of the latest ones was for sure the most damning. Pete Hegseth likes to drink beer. Oh. We've got this report from the Washington Post that states that several years ago during a St. Patrick's Day segment on Fox and Friends Weekend, support staff at the cable news network set up a display of beers for a holiday segment on the show, and after the segment aired, Hegseth walked up by the display table and drank each beer. According to two former colleagues who witnessed the incident and spoke on the condition of anonymity to discuss a sensitive episode. The incident struck the colleagues as jarring for two reasons. One, the displayed beers had been sitting out for hours and were stale, and two, the show wraps up at 10 a.m. An early hour for alcohol consumption. Oh no, Pete Hegseth likes to drink beer. Stale beer at that on St. Patty's Day, a little bit too early. Who frickin' cares? Essentially, you can see how weak sauce what they've been pulling is. But of course the question is, will it work at derailing his confirmation? Well, we got a little bit of a look into that, and I'm not so sure. As one of Pete Hegseth's expected detractors in the Republican Party, that's U.S. Senator Joni Ernst of the great state of Iowa, who now seemingly has given Pete Hegseth a little bit of a lifeline here.
It was a very good meeting. The more you spend, I've known her for 10 years. The more we talk, we're reminded of, as two combat veterans, how dedicated we are to defense. She has been dedicated to make the Pentagon work for warfighters for a long time. Had great extensive conversations about that. Her commitment to the process, and we look forward to working together.
We talked about a number of those issues, and we will continue with the vetting process. I think that is incredibly important. So again, all I'm saying is we had a very frank and productive discussion, and I know that we will continue to have conversation in the upcoming months.
Is there a date certain for his confirmation hearing?
I have not heard that yet. The incoming chairman will be Senator Roger Wicker, and so that will be established between the chair, I am understanding, and the nominee.
Okay, it doesn't sound on your answer that you've gotten to a yes. If I'm wrong about that, correct me. And if that is the case, it sounds to me as if the hearing will be critical for his nomination. Am I right about that?
I think you are right. I think for a number of our senators, they want to make sure that any allegations have been cleared, and that's why we have to have a very thorough vetting process. And that's why I was happy to sit down with Pete and have that conversation with him yesterday.
Yeah, it seems like Rhino Joni doesn't want to face a primary challenger, and so she's falling in line. They might have gotten Matt Gaetz, but it seems like Pete Hegseth is headed to Washington. And that, I gotta tell you, is some welcomed news. Very simply because Pete Hegseth is exactly what America needs right now. Now, of course, if you listen to the mainstream media, he's a radical, he's a crazy person, he's unqualified and has no experience. And probably most damning and most importantly, most shockingly, he likes beer. Just like Brett Kavanaugh, who's spooky. The narrative is that he's the wrong person for the job, but I feel the exact opposite. Very simply because Pete Hegseth gets it. And maybe that's why they hate him so much. He's not some career bureaucrat who's out of touch with the rank and file. No, he's a veteran, a man who's actually walked the walk and understands the reality of what American armed forces are going through. And probably most importantly, and his greatest qualification, is his anti-woke stance. He has made it crystal clear that his mission is to dismantle the woke agenda in the military. When we're talking about the military, combat readiness should probably be priority number one. But in the modern era, the military has been bogged down by divisive, moral-killing DEI nonsense initiatives and woke identity politics. And now it's one thing to have these programs in a corporate boardroom or on a college campus, but it's another when we're talking about the American military. I feel like there should be a unanimous consensus that this woke crap has no place in an institution designed to protect the country.
Well, there's a lot to be done. First of all, you salute the commander-in-chief who got those 76 million votes and is going to chart the way. And I'll give him advice and counsel along the way. I'll just say what he told me. Return the Pentagon to the warfighters, Pete. Get in there and clean out all the social justice, politically correct garbage on top and get back to lethality, warfighting, accountability, meritocracy, and readiness. And guess what? 95% of the people in that building in the Pentagon and that wear the uniform, that's all they want to do anyway. And so when you return to that, it changes the culture of an institution that now stands up straight. You address that recruiting crisis. You address the retention crisis. Sean, I can't tell you how many families have reached out to me and said, my son or daughter wasn't going to join, and now they are after President Trump was elected and you were chosen to be SecDef. Same with retention. And then the rest of the world takes notice of that, Sean. So I'm not going to get ahead of the president on policy or what our posture will be. But we will be strong. And we will have peace through strength, as Donald Trump has said, and we will put America first. That's what he's asked me to do at the Pentagon, and that's my promise to the American people and our warfighters, led by President Donald Trump.
And Pete has made it very clear where he stands with great passion. You know, just listening to him speak there, I'm sitting back and thinking, this guy's the perfect pick for the job. I don't understand what the left's issue is. They seem to be selectively setting unrealistically high standards for some of these positions in an effort to tear down some of these nominees. I mean, what's the argument here? That you need to be some kind of super genius, superhuman to take this role? You need to have 55 years of experience and an IQ of 7,000? It's absurd. What is the issue? You can't just say he's not qualified for the role without stating what the actual standards of qualification are. It's ridiculous, and the fact is that competence and a clear understanding of the mission are what matter most, and Pete Hegseth clearly understands these things. He doesn't need to be a deep state military general with 700 years of experience to fill this role. He just needs to be a competent person who's fully aligned with the mandate that Donald Trump is setting forward. He's not coming in here trying to reinvent the wheel. He's here to make the system work as it should. We're talking basic leadership skills and understanding the direction that the military needs to go in, and clearly Pete Hegseth understands this. He understands that the wokeness has to go. He understands what it is to be combat ready, what it is to be a fighter, what it is to be an actual soldier. There's no such thing as a perfect candidate or a flawless individual for this position. You just need somebody who can get the job done. It seems Pete Hegseth is that individual, and it seems as though the political winds are blowing in his favor, in his direction, and he's now likely on a path to confirmation. And probably, most importantly, it seems as if the days of wokeness in the military are finally coming to an end. And that has to be one of the biggest wins of the year. Anyways, that's pretty much what I got for you guys on this one. Hopefully you enjoyed the video. If you did, make sure to leave a like and possibly subscribe. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.